with Snail.
Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Jason with Jadren Aquatics and Lily. And today we're going to talk a little bit more about breeding for profit and breeding mystery snails. No, not fish, but breeding mystery snails, and the incredible success that I'm having in breeding them. And right now I'm currently selling them on eBay. I only have just a few left at this point. I'll link that listing down below if you guys are interested in getting them. Just know as you watch this video, you'll see that the ones that I'm now selling are ones that are quite a bit smaller. First of all, you guys should go back and watch my first video. I'll link that above. That goes into a deeper explanation of the way that I'm currently doing this. But right now I've begun to change things up quite a bit. I'm constantly changing it because of the fact that I'm trying to get better egg hatch rate, and I'm trying to get better survival rate of the babies, because that seems to be the most difficult part right now. Now, with the setup that I have, I'm probably getting, when you count all the eggs, I probably get over 200 to 300 eggs every single day, but there is nowhere that amount that actually hatches and grows up. And I haven't been able to figure out, when I have them, which ones. Oh, you tell them hi? I haven't been.
I'll be on the TV.
Yeah, you're on. Look, see you on the screen right there? That's Lily. And so I haven't been able to tell quite yet whether or not the eggs are fertile. There really doesn't seem to be any kind of signs of whether or not they're fertilized or not fertilized. So that's something that I'm still trying to figure out. If you guys know of any way, be sure and leave it down in the comments below. I would love to know that. And so these are just going to be some of the different processes that I'm trying to get better success rate with egg hatching and better success rate with the babies. So let's go ahead and move over to that tank that I have that I'm doing the grow outs in, so we can talk about it a little bit more. All right, so here we have my 40-gallon breeder. This is the grow out tank for all of my mystery snails, and this is pretty empty. Let me show you guys a quick shot of how many I had about 2 weeks ago. Now again, that's in a 10-gallon aquarium, so it's a little deceiving, but I do have, I've sold a ton of these things. In the last 2 weeks, I have probably had to fill probably close to 30 orders. Now, one of the things that I'm doing differently, before I was selling 10 of these at a time, and I was selling some of the bigger sizes, but it takes so long to grow these things up sometimes that I decided that I was going to move into selling smaller but selling more for the same price. So now I'm selling 15 at a time, and the typical size that I'm selling are, you know, is about right here, what you see these guys. I'll typically throw in maybe 1 or 2 bigger ones if I have them, but the majority of the assortment is going to be these guys that are just about a dime size is what they are. So I want to kind of show you some different things that I'm doing, because I've always have different types of problems. One of them is getting all the eggs to hatch. Another one is trying to raise up the babies. And so I keep trying different type of procedures. Down here you'll see that this is my adult tank, and so this is where I get all of the eggs from. So these guys, I keep the water level low, and then like you can see kind of back in the back, there's a few egg casings. I just pulled some out of here the other day, so there's not a lot. And so used to, I would just leave the egg casings in this tank and just let them hatch naturally. But the problem is these guys are constantly up at the top, and they're always knocking these egg sacs down into the water, and then once they go into the water, it ends up killing the babies that are in them. So one of the things that I tried before is I tried moving those eggs up into this tank, and then I would take just a piece of foam and just let them float on the top, and that worked pretty good, but it didn't seem to work that great. It seems like maybe some of the ones were starting to dry out. So the next thing that I tried to do is I tried to remove them and put them inside of a deli cup. Now let me grab Now what I would use is these deli cups right here. These are the same deli cups that I ship the Mystery Snails in. And so I would take these and then I would put a wet paper towel in here and then I would put the egg sacs on top of here. And so there may be 10 or 20 of them. Then I put the lid on there and then I would cut a few little small holes in the lid so this thing can breathe. That way they would get the moisture that they need. But the problem that I kept running into there is after a week or two that it would start to build up mold all around the paper towels. And that just became a pain, and that didn't seem to work any better. So the next thing that I've started using that seems to be working quite a bit better is this. And as you can see, we've got a piece of foam. Let's move the light here so we can see what we're doing. We've got a piece of foam, and then the stuff that I have on top. This is like this knitting material that you can find like at any craft store, and you can see this stuff has holes in it. Let me get like a white piece. And so this is actually what this stuff is, but the one I use is black. This hole is probably a little bit small. The babies get caught in here every once in a while, but the idea is that the eggs hatch and then the babies crawl off and then they fall through the holes. That's kind of what the idea is. But I don't typically ever let my babies hatch. Once I see that the egg sacs are getting real gray and real soft, then I will release the babies myself. So for them to fall through the holes almost never happens because I almost never let it get that far. But again, I've taken it so that the styrofoam only goes around the outside, not through the middle, so that this part is exposed to the water. That way it's getting the moisture and stuff that it needs. And I'm finding that I'm having a better hatch rate, and it also seems like they're hatching quicker than they normally would. Now, I'm not keeping the greatest data to know that for sure, but again, that's just kind of what it seems like to me. And so that's the idea that I'm currently working on. I'll link a video up above. YouTuber's name is Chubby Guppy, or is it Chub Guppy? I don't remember which one it is, but I'll link the video up above. And he kind of did this cool idea where he used this Wendy's container to create another way to do this. So you guys want to watch that and kind of get an idea how he did it. I thought it was kind of cool. That might be something that I try in the future also. And one of the things you just don't ever know is whether or not these eggs are actually fertilized. So you're going to get some that just never hatch because they never were fertilized. But due to the fact I got 100 adults in there, I don't see how one can get by unfertilized, but I'm sure it is possible. So basically what I do every day is I look at this, I turn this thing around, and I try to look for some ones that are grayer than others, and then I kind of touch them like this to see how soft they are. And this one right here is pretty soft, so this one is probably actually ready to go. And then what I used to do before is I would just put it here in the water and then just kind of shake it off and watch the babies fall to the bottom. But I was beginning to see like there's quite a few dead babies. So if you look here at the bottom, yeah, believe it or not, I just cleaned this out yesterday. These things, when you feed them as much as I do, they're very messy. The little ones that you see that are kind of a bleached out white, those are dead ones, and the ones that kind of have a brownish tint are the ones that are alive. So you can see that I lose quite a few babies, and that's something that I'm trying to figure out how to avoid. So instead of just dumping them in there, what I've decided to start doing is this method right here. And so now I take one of these breeder boxes, the Marina ones that that are constantly changing water, and then I dump the babies in here. And what I've noticed is after the first 24 hours, the babies don't eat at all. They release, and then they almost all try to climb up to the top of the container. I'm assuming they must still be like eating on their egg sac or something, or maybe I've released them a little bit early. And so now these guys have been in here about 48 hours, and so I'm kind of trying to figure out what it is they like to eat more than anything else. I've got back there a piece of a green bean that probably has 10 or 15 on them. I've got these cichlid pellets that I like to feed to the adults, and there's only a few on there. This is the snail jello that I make that has all the calcium in it. You can see there's a few on there. And then I also threw in just some moss, because you'll see them, if you put moss in there, you tend to see them in the moss a lot. So right now it looks like the green beans are the one that's winning. So the idea is, this makes it a whole lot easier for them to find a food source. Whenever I pour the green beans in there, the entire colony will eat all the green beans within maybe 2 hours, which many times some of the babies that are maybe up here at the top, you know, never get a chance to go down to the bottom to actually find them. So hopefully by having them in here, this gives them a food source that's really, really easy to get to. Because of them being so many in there, it just doesn't have enough time to build enough algae up for these guys to actually eat. And so here's one of the sets of babies that I have right here, so you can kind of watch, you can see as I'm just kind of just barely twisting it in my hands, the babies are just falling to the bottom. And then the excess stuff I just kind of let float around, because eventually they'll get around to actually eating that. Now the rest of this one, it kind of doesn't look like it's actually ready to let any more of the snails out. So I'll twist it around a few more times, and then I'll actually just put this one back on here and let it go for a little bit longer. Thanks again, guys, for joining us. We love each and every one of you. Be sure and leave a comment down below if you have a question. Be sure and leave a question. If you guys got some better ideas of what to do, I would love to hear some of the ways that you're having success. Or maybe you saw another YouTuber or someone else that was doing it that was having much better success. Would love to hear what it is that you know. Love to be able to try each one of those different ways out. So thanks again, guys, and God bless.